Welcome to Week 15. This video covers the essential principles of personal data, GDPR, and the APK framework. We will provide practical guidance for handling data in educational and professional environments. First, remember that even without a name, a prompt can still identify someone. Contextual details like age, school, health information, or specific life events can be enough to de-anonymize data. Privacy is ultimately about protecting people, not just files. It ensures dignity, safety, autonomy, and fairness. Because of this, the safest choice is often not to enter sensitive information into an AI tool at all. Always start with the purpose of your task. Ask yourself, is AI necessary? Can the goal be achieved without using personal information? Is the tool approved? And what are the risks if data is exposed? Under GDPR, personal data relates to any identifiable living person. Remember, context determines recognizability. If someone can be identified through a combination of details, it is personal data. Direct identifiers include names, IDs, email addresses, phone numbers, and even biometric data like photographs or recorded voices. These are clear indicators of personal data that require caution. However, identification can also be indirect. A description of a person's age, role, or unique circumstances within a specific group can be just as identifying as a name. Many combinations of details, such as school location, dates, events, or membership in a small group, can reveal identity. If you are uncertain about whether a combination is recognizable, treat it as personal data. Remember that personal data can hide in many places throughout your workflow, including screenshots, meeting transcripts, file names, and revision history. Always inspect the entire file, not just the visible prompt. Processing is broad. It includes entering, uploading, storing, or even deleting data. Any interaction with an AI tool that involves these actions counts as processing under the law. Certain data, such as health information, political opinions, or ethnic origin, receives additional protection under GDPR. You should never enter such special category data unless explicitly authorized. Even outside of formal special categories, other information like grades, disciplinary records, or financial problems remains confidential. Always consider the potential for harm, not just the legal category. The APK framework is a pause tool. It stands for Arbite, Person Upgifter, and Conflict. It is designed to help you stop and evaluate your workflow. If you are uncertain, stop and ask for guidance. When assessing the Arbite or work context, check if the task is connected to your workplace, if the tool is approved, and if local policies permit the information you intend to use. Finally, remember that paid accounts, private modes, or do not train settings do not constitute formal organizational approval. Always rely on authorized, institutionally configured services for your work. When considering the Person Upgifter part of the APK framework, ask yourself, does your input contain names, voices, faces, or contact details? Could any combination of details reveal someone? Or does your upload contain hidden information? Remember that personal data can enter through the input and also emerge in the output. When using AI, carefully review both the information you provide and any text or data the tool produces. The K in our framework stands for conflict or sensitive information. Ask yourself if the data involves special categories like health, politics, or beliefs. Does it concern a child or sensitive school and business information? Think about the impact of the data. Could sharing it lead to embarrassment, discrimination, or reputational damage? If there is any risk to safety, education, or finance, you must abstain or escalate. When you are uncertain, stop and escalate. This means contacting your manager, your data protection officer, or IT security. Sometimes, the safest and best approach is to simply complete the task without using AI. Good AI literacy means knowing when not to prompt. Do not attempt to invent your own legal authority. Instead, rely on approved systems and established procedures for your organization. Data minimization is key. Before starting, clearly define the purpose. Ask, what output is actually needed? Can you use less data or a less precise form? Always minimize information before it enters the tool. To minimize risk, you can remove unnecessary details, use general terms like age groups or broad locations, or aggregate data into totals. If possible, use fictional examples or blank templates instead of real records. Consider the difference between a risky prompt and a safer one. Instead of entering specific, identifiable details about a real person, request a general support plan template for a fictional scenario. Simply changing or removing a name is not enough to make information anonymous. Distinctive details such as a specific diagnosis or rare circumstances can still identify a person to those in the context. Pseudonymization, where names are replaced by codes, is not the same as anonymization. The information is still personal data because the key exists. Treat such data with the same caution as named files. Reliable anonymization is difficult. Free text, photos, specific timelines, and voice recordings all contain markers that can reveal identity. When in doubt, continue treating the material as personal data. Remember that approval is an organizational assessment. It covers the entire flow, including purpose, security, access, and retention. A single privacy setting or checkbox is not a substitute for formal authorization. AI output can create new risks, such as inventing facts, creating unfair descriptions, or assigning diagnosis without evidence. Always review both the input data you use and the output generated by the AI. Finally, remember that human oversight must be meaningful. You need the time, knowledge, and authority to challenge AI output. Oversight isn't just checking a box. It's ensuring that the AI's work is accurate and safe. If personal data is accidentally exposed, act without delay. Stop sharing, preserve the relevant facts, and follow your organization's specific incident procedure. Do not attempt to investigate or manage the situation alone. Remember that simply deleting a visible chat does not guarantee the incident is resolved. Service providers or system logs may retain records. Always report the incident internally so the organization can assess the risk and determine necessary actions. For our practical activity, we will apply the APK framework to fictional scenarios. Always define your purpose, determine if AI is needed, identify personal data, reduce information where possible, and decide on the safest path forward. Good AI literacy includes knowing when not to prompt. By learning to proceed, minimize, or stop, you protect people and follow the safest methods that meet your objectives. Thank you for completing this course.